everyone. I just felt like I should actually tell you guys the story of how I broke my back. People who are close to me obviously know, but a lot of people on my Facebook page probably don't, so I thought I'd share. So, on May 31st of last year, 2013, I decided to go for a mountain bike ride, and I was in Arlington hanging out with my boyfriend Andrew. He was really busy, and I was supposed to go with another friend, but she texted me and said she was busy, work had picked up or something. So I was like, oh, that's fine, I'll go on my own, because tomorrow it's going to rain, and I brought my bike all this way, I want to ride. So I decided to go to River Legacy because I'd been there several times before with Andrew, and loaded up my bike, and I started driving that direction. I got lost trying to find it, and had to call Andrew to ask him how to get there. Finally got there, unloaded my bike, tied my key to my shoelace, put my cell phone in my camelback, and went for a ride. On my first lap, I accidentally missed the technical section called the EKG, named fittingly so because there's lots of ups and downs. So I went a few miles, I guess, missed the EKG, and then ended back up at the parking lot, and I was like, really not that tired. I can definitely go another lap, and I really wanted to try the EKG section because it's the most fun. So I went again and hit that EKG section. I was doing pretty good, had a few tumbles here and there, as I always did. And then there was a new part called more EKG. So I went down that section, and there was kind of like a big hill followed by a small hill, if that makes any sense. So I got too much speed going down big hill, noticed there was a little bump at the end, hit my brakes as I was going over the bump, and did what we like to call an endo, meaning I went end over end. My back tire bucked up, flipped me onto my back. I hit the ground really hard. I remember as I'm going through the air thinking, this one's gonna hurt. So I hit the ground, and immediately from my waist down, it just felt like loud static. Like my legs were just trying so hard to make things happen, and nothing was happening. So I'm laying there, staring up the sky, thinking about, okay, I made it. Like, I'm conscious, I'm okay, we're good. And then it was like, actually, my back hurt pretty bad. And I kind of tried to move and realized that wasn't a good idea. So I started yelling for help, seeing if anyone was around. After a couple minutes of that, realized no one was around. So I had my cell phone on my camelback, which I was currently laying on. My back felt really weird, so I was like, maybe if I get off my camelback, I'll feel better. So I struggled to get my camelback off, managed to do so. I got to my cell phone and called 911, and actually no one answered the first time. So I listened to the message about, like, just stay on the line, we're waiting for someone. Oh, hello, Kitty. Kitty just came to say hi. Then I listened to it in Spanish, and then I listened to it again in English, and then someone answered. And I was trying to explain where I was on the trail, and she was having a really hard time. And then another guy came down the trail and was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I said, I'm alright, but if you could talk to the 911 operator for me and try and explain where we are, that would be great. Because I was trying really hard to keep it together and not necessarily doing the best job of it. And so he checked the phone, thankfully, and was trying to explain everything. And he came back over to me and said, okay, they're on their way. They're using GPS to find where you are exactly. They'll be here in 15 minutes or so. And so 15 minutes later, I guess, I'm still staring into the sky, just like, they're going to come get me. I'm going to be okay. They're going to get me to a hospital. I don't know what I did, but once they get here, I'll be okay. So a group of firefighters showed up, sweetest heroes I will ever meet. They started an IV, started clearing poison ivy off of me, which I didn't even realize I had. Put me in a neck brace, talked me down, got me onto the ambulance, and asked, where do you want to go, Dallas or Fort Worth? And I just said, whatever's closer. I don't care at all. So they said, do you have your ID on you? And I said, no. So they went to my car and got my ID for me. And they said, all right, we're going to take you to Methodist Hospital in Dallas. So that's where we went. In the ambulance, I had them call my boyfriend Andrew and then call my mom. So I was like, okay, they'll be there whenever I get there. And whenever I got to the hospital, they rushed me in immediately, like started assessing what was wrong. But unfortunately, they also took me off the pain medication. And by this point, all of my adrenaline had run off, or worn off. So I started really, really feeling it. It hurt so bad. I was just crying. I was scared, and I didn't know what was going on, and I had this stupid neck brace on, and I couldn't move my lower half, so I was stuck in whatever position they put me in, and it was absolutely terrifying. And they started running some tests. I remember the worst part was before I had any pain medicine, they had me, I guess, in an X-ray machine or something, and I'm staring at the ceiling and no one's talking to me at all. I'm just laying there staring at the ceiling, finally thinking about, oh my gosh, what happened to me? What's wrong? So I kept feeling like I was going to throw up and I couldn't roll over. So I was worried I was going to throw up and choke and no one's around because no one's talking to me. So I kept saying, I think I'm going to throw up. And finally, someone said out of the blue, like, we already gave you medicine for that twice. And I was like, well, I still feel sick, so you're going to have to give it to me again. After that, they took me up to a room, got me on some pain medication, which helped a lot, and explained that I had broken my back, and they needed to do an MRI to know exactly what they were dealing with. So I got to see Andrew and my mom, and then they took me to the MRI and assigned me a nurse who was going to stay with me the whole time. He was wonderful. His name was John. And we went to the MRI, and of course it's this tiny little tube, and they're trying to stick me in there. I still have this neck brace on. I can't roll over. I still feel sick. And I was just like, there's no way I'm going in that thing. Not right now. So John said, that's okay. Do you want like a cool rag over your face? Just relax and start thinking about like what you did last night, what you did earlier today. Like don't think about what you're going through right now. So I calmed down and they started the MRI. And at one point I felt really, really sick and I said, you need to get me out of here. I'm going to throw up. And thankfully they stopped. They pulled me out. They kind of got me on my side for a second, let me calm down. And then they finished the MRI, took me back into my room where my dad was there now too, and I believe Andrew's parents were also there at this point. And they said, all right, we're going to do emergency surgery. Let's go, pretty much. And so on the way into the operating room, they warned me I'd probably have to get a blood transfusion, which I did. And I was still complaining that I was so sick I was going to throw up. And the doctor was like, does your neck hurt? And I said, no, it hasn't hurt this whole time. And he just was like, okay, and took off the neck brace and threw it like 20 feet down the hall, threw it. And next thing I know, I woke up and I was all fixed up, I suppose. They fused 5 of my vertebrae, my T9 through my L2, which is about the middle of my back. And they said the surgery went really well, and they were surprised at how well it went. It took 4.5 hours of blood transfusion, 2 titanium rods, and 6 titanium screws. And that was the beginning of my journey. Now it's been about almost 10 months, and I'm still making progress. So that's my story for those of you who don't know. Thanks for listening.